So I didn't think in a million years Asmongold would ever see a video I posted, especially on Gaming Kinda. It's my side thoughts channel, as opposed to Work to Game, where we have what for a Final Fantasy based, heavily influenced channel, is a more respectable, I guess, number of subscribers for the people out there that seem to define a content creator's sole goal as growth of a subscriber number as a view count. I went full time in January, and so obviously, like, my ability to make a living is a thing that I'm aware of. But for the people out there that say I only talk about certain things for the views, those are probably the only views of mine you're seeing. On the back end, there are videos that if a sponsor came to me and said, hey, I need you to get the most views you've ever gotten on a video, and if you do, that's the only way I'll pay you, and I wanted to work with that sponsor, I could pick those topics. Those are never the topics that people accuse us of view chasing on. Those are typically the topics where we actually get thank yous for covering them. Those are typically the people there where people ask that we spend more time talking about them or talking with them or reacting to them or mentioning them or shouting about them or whatever. They're never the ones that we get accused of, because going after the biggest topic doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the most success in your space. You need to go after the biggest topic in your space. And so even from a content creator standpoint, just algorithmically, I am better off mentioning Ethis Asher, Mr. Happy, Zepla, Spofi, Xenosys, Larry Czar than Asmongold. He's a big creator. I talked about him because I wanted to. So let's just make that incredibly clear. But now, I'm talking about him because of some comments I got that are incredibly frustrating. And I don't mean accusing me of view chasing. Get over yourself. I don't care. What I'm frustrated at are people in the 14 community that have responded to this. I don't care if Zach's chat wants to come in and meme on me a bit. They don't. He didn't post his reaction. Honestly, of the things he reacts to, his reaction to my video wasn't that exciting. So I get why it wasn't posted on YouTube. Out of everything he posts from his stream, it's kind of just the best of. That's why they do really well. He doesn't post the whole stream. If people want to watch that, they can go watch him stream. YouTube is more about, like, picking those prime moments. And so, like, I didn't see a growth. I didn't see a boom. It was a huge compliment. But there has been some accusations in the community that have been, in this case, put out there against Asmongold and his community. But this isn't new. There have been people in the 14 community that have accused it of other aspects of the WoW community or other MMOs in general. And it's this thought that if that game does poorly, they deserve it. Those neckbeards can just go suffer in a bad game. They had it coming. That's what they get. This is insensitive, offensive, wrong, stupid, and I cannot make it more clear how I feel. But let's follow this train of thought a couple of ways. Let's see how this works out. First of all, the 14 community and the WoW community have an enormous number of overlapping players. They are long time running franchises with massively successful expansions under their belt. And the idea that any player who's ever touched both deserves to die in a fire is just ridiculous. Trying a game does not sum up who you are. It doesn't. You can play anything you freaking want. So it's not that there's these humans from a Dr. Seuss book where they've got WoW logos tattooed on their tummy and 14 logos tattooed on their forehead, and you've got the tummy tattoos and the forehead tattoos, and they're different people. It's not that simple. Don't be stupid. This is unbelievably simplistic, and you know better. You cannot be summed up by one thing you play, No community is one type of person. And it just, every argument gets nullified down to 14 words or less because we've got to get it under some character count so that people have time in their day so that they can process all the things coming in, and we can't have any nuance in anything. We can't talk about any group of people having more than one view. But let's assume that this is the case. In this life, there are bad humans and good humans. And congratulations, you're a good human. You're amazing. You were born this way. You were raised this way. You earned it. Whatever makes you happy. And the neckbeards are bad humans. Let's just assume this view of the world is for some reason accurate so that we can get to the next point that's made. They deserve World of Warcraft to suffer. Yoshi P and and his team and Ian and his team respect each other. Period. They draw from each other's games. They go to each other's conventions. The first time I met a WoW employee in an official capacity, not as any time I was in a guild associated with elitist jerks, as an FNF, just to make that clear, not that I deserve to be there. But you're around people that are incredibly impressive and have huge storied careers within the game development space and so on, and work for big companies like Apple and Google and all these people where they know people that have had impacts on the industry, and you meet people that, while they may not have names that show up on Wikipedia, they are incredibly important to directions that Steam has taken, directions Valve has taken, directions Classic took. And so I'm incredibly biased towards defending game developers in general, even though I've never been one and will never be one, because I've met them and they're just people. So already from the get-go, this is like two sports fans beating the crap out of each other in a bar, while the players from their two separate teams are vacationing in the Galapagos Islands together. These game devs, these content creators in general, when they're not drumming it up to be excited and hyped, are okay with the other game and have probably, in some cases, even tried it. Both sets of dev teams have people on them that play the other game, and it's a good thing. You don't want your game developed in a bubble. But you know what? That's just them. They're special. They don't have to be divided like us players into the good people and the bad people. The neckbeards are all bad people, and that's how we're going to view the world today. They deserve a bad game. They deserve a gap between 9.0 and 9.1. They deserve it. Do you realize the 14 community has had weak moments? We have people in here that have issued death threats over things to the point that we've lost content creators where they've left the space because that's ridiculous. We have people in this community that have done absolutely disgusting things. Just like any other community of this size. Thank God this whole community doesn't have to answer for its weakest moments. Thank God. But it's okay, because the 14 community is complex, and the WoW community, they're all bad. They're all bad. Alright, let's follow that line of thought a little further. WoW dies because all of these objectively bad in every way people deserve it. Do you think they just sit on their couch and stare forward like a bunch of robots that have been shut down? No. They're going to keep playing freaking games. They're going to play games. So even on a totally selfish standpoint, where you do not believe your game can get better because other good games exist, you do not believe gaming as a whole can get better because other games exist, you do not believe that content creators can be inspired because other games exist, you do not believe that people can come from other games, you believe that people are born into this world with the blessing of one day wanting to be Final Fantasy XIV players, having done nothing else. That is where all good people are born, and no other game in no direct way can ever, ever, ever influence anything positive in the 14 space. Fine. Let's assume all of that is true. And that's a summary of several commenters. That's not any one person. Don't go look for them. Don't go flame them. This is a bunch of comments where I've just gotten more and more frustrated as I've dove down this rabbit hole of trying to help understand and react in the comment sections of Game Club and Work to Game and Gaming Kinda. And I'm responding to these comments, and I'm trying to understand where they're coming from, and I'm just getting more and more frustrated at how simplistic this view is. Let's assume WoW dies because it freaking deserves it. Blizzard comes out and says, you know what, guys, we just looked in the mirror and we're bad people and we need to shut the servers down because we're bad people, and that's what we have to do now. Fine. Let's assume that version of the universe exists under some infinite universe theory. Where do you think they go? Not going to play games again. They like MMOs. Well, I would want the kind of MMO that I could put a lot of time into. Yeah. I would also want a game that that I could complain about class balance because I'm a bad person and that's what we like to do. We like to just complain, especially within PvP, and that game devs don't take PvP as seriously as PvE. I want to complain about that. I do. I'd want there to be a lot of people that I could meme on because like I'm way better than them and everything, and so that'd be important to me. I'd want like a lot of raid content I haven't done, but long term I'll probably complain it's not enough. But like when I'm new, it'll be a lot. Yeah. I was looking for something that would like not have the things I don't like about WoW. So let's not have any form of warforging and titan forging where the gear can upgrade randomly. Let's not do anything like that. Let's simplify gear acquisition. Let's chase the things that the WoW community most commonly hates about WoW, and let's look for a game that does those things differently. You do realize a percentage of these bad people, they're coming to 14, right? You know that, right? You know that if we shut WoW servers down, if somebody flips a light switch and Blizzard goes, well, the light switch got flipped, we have to leave it off, that's the rules. You know a portion of them are coming to 14, right? So if for no other reason, assuming Yoshi P and his devs are wrong for ever having liked anything about a Blizzard game, assuming every player that came over from WoW that is good was just mistaken when they were over there, and that all the ones who are really truly WoW players are going to stay there because they're bad people, that they're one-note people and they're all bad with no redeeming value, and that 14 players are all amazing and deserve good things. Alongside these people on Reddit that I saw saying that Soken having cancer is proof that WoW 14 has better devs because Ian never worked with cancer. God, I hope you're kidding. I really hope you're kidding. That somebody we care deeply about in the 14 community coming out and saying that he had been working on Shadowbringers with cancer and that it's in remission. And I am doing a charity stream this Saturday as part of a bunch of content creators raising money for the Stand Up Against Cancer. That any game dev that's worked without cancer is somehow less. If you can't tell, this entire video is because I'm disgusted with some of the reactions in the 14 community. You've taken the wrong lesson from a series of events. All games should be good games. I want to live in a universe where every game that comes out is a good game. Every single one. That way, if I don't like a game dev for their monetization practices or their political views or how they treat their employees, I can just pick a different one. If I'm bored of a game and I want something different, I can pick a different one. They're all good. And I want to pick my favorites. And if something doesn't, well, I want this percentage of story, or I want this type of gear progression. Oh, well, there's one out there. And it's good, because all games are good. I want to live in that world, where every player is excited about the games they play, even if it's not games I play. Where people can go freely between communities, and just because they like games. I don't know why there has to be this tribal, weird thing. In the real world, I get it. When religions and political groups fight, it's because they're fighting for their livelihood. Either in this world or the next. Their belief system has said, we have to take this so that us and our children's children can have a better life and, in religion's case, a better salvation. I don't necessarily agree with the methods, but I understand why that devolves to violence. Because in your mind, you can rationalize that short-term violence may result in something that is ultimately a better world for the people you care about, and that you may have to take something from someone else to get there. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand it. But these are games. They're just games. Stop it. Wow, I hope 9.1 is amazing. Astoundingly amazing. I hope the Burning Crusade in Classic is somehow better than TBC was originally. I hope it's astounding in its long-term impact on people's lives as gamers. The Burning Crusade is my favorite expansion of any MMO of all time. I hope Classic is wonderful. And none of that has any bearing on how good Shadowbringers was and how good I hope Endwalker is this November. Or that End of Dragons in Guild Wars should be wonderful. Or that New World might be good out of the gate. That'd be awesome. Amazon, best of luck, man. More big players is better. It's the only way that keeps the existing big players honest. Apple and Google don't seem to want to develop first parties, so it's on you. It's on you. I wish you the best. And even if I don't play one of the games I just listed, or I don't put a ton of time into it, it doesn't mean I hope it's not successful. Why? Why do we have to take something away? So I don't care if 14 players don't care who Asmongold is. I talked about in a video why I think he comes up. And I'm thrilled that we talked about Bellular, and in general the community's response was, come on in. And that people were like, oh my gosh, I've heard of him and I really like him. Stop gatekeeping. There was a day before you played Final Fantasy. I don't care if you played in the beta of 1.0. There was a time in your life before you played Final Fantasy. And I hope your first experience was welcoming with open arms. It breaks my heart when Sprouts, which is what we refer to as our new players, because of the Sprout symbol that Final Fantasy applies to them so that other players know that they might have questions. It breaks my heart to hear Sprouts have a negative impression of the game. As a general rule, the 14 community takes some extra care around Sprouts, the same way that people at a party might be mad at each other and are nice to the kid that walks in. They're new to the game no matter where they came from, no matter how experienced in games they are, and we all want to make sure that they get where they're going. And I don't care if those Sprouts come from playing games before, don't come from playing games before, come in with a chip on their shoulder. We're going to be polite. We're going to be nice. We're going to hang out. We're going to be welcoming. And if you're mean to a Sprout and you catch a 24-hour ban, I don't feel bad for you. I hope that general set of thoughts there makes it very clear when I respond in comments and I come across as angry and frustrated. Usually, I come to a video because I say, I think this is coming across wrong. No. I want to make this incredibly clear. Everybody is welcome to play Final Fantasy XIV. The idea that I'm playing such a good game that I hope it never grows or gains another player is insane. I hope the game grows. I hope the devs take that resources and continue to use them as well as the ones they've already been done to give us even better and even more content. Maybe at 30 million players we wouldn't have had an ultimate delay. I don't know, but I'm willing to find out. I hope they go to Xbox. I hope they go to Stadia. I hope they go to Cloud. I hope this game in its current form, without changes, could run on a Samsung smart fridge if it would let somebody else try this freaking game. I think it's awesome. I like this game. I've enjoyed playing it. I've enjoyed being a member of the community, and I welcome all that want to play it. And if you don't want to play it, that's cool too. I hope the game you play is awesome. And I hope it gives you everything you want it to. I hope WoW is incredible. I hope that the worst I feel about games is that I'm torn I can't get to them all. I love that God of War was so good and I felt bad I didn't get to play it because I didn't have the time. I want to live in a world where I have to pass on acclaimed titles, not I only play the one good game of the year and all the others suck. Because what happens if I get tired of that game? Even at a selfish level, it is in my best interest that all games succeed. That all game devs get better, that all gaming communities are happy and fund their games. So I hope that was clear. I hope that expresses some of my views, maybe even beyond gaming, but mostly just about gaming. Kinda.